Al Capone. The name alone conjures an image: sharp suit, fedora, cigar, an icon of American crime. He was both a brutal criminal and, to some, a self-made man who gave the public what they wanted when the law said no. Capone's story is the story of Chicago in the Roaring '20s, jazz, machine guns, and a city of opportunity and danger. Born in Brooklyn in 1899 to Italian immigrants, Capone's early life was tough, shaped by the streets more than the classroom. He dropped out after a violent altercation, his temper already infamous. Mentored by Johnny Torrio, Capone learned the ropes in Brooklyn's gangs and earned his Scarface nickname in a bar fight, a mark he hated. New York became too small, too dangerous. Torrio, now in Chicago, called Capone West. Prohibition had just begun, making alcohol illegal and creating a golden opportunity for organized crime. Torrio invited Capone to help run his empire of bootlegging, gambling, and vice. The move would change Capone's life, and the history of American crime, forever. The young man from Brooklyn was about to become king of a lawless city. Chicago was a battleground of gangs fighting for control of illegal liquor. Under Johnny Torrio, Capone helped build the Chicago Outfit, a syndicate that ran bootlegging, gambling, and more. Capone streamlined operations, managed supply chains, and mastered bribery, ensuring a steady flow of alcohol to speakeasies. The outfit's profits soared, and corruption spread through police, judges, and politicians. Rival gangs, especially the North Side Gang, challenged their dominance, sparking bloody turf wars. O'Banion's assassination in 1924 triggered a cycle of violence. Torrio was nearly killed and retired, handing power to Capone. At just 26, Capone became boss, ruling with even more brutality. The gang wars peaked with the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929. 7 rivals gunned down, the nation horrified. Capone's reputation as America's most ruthless gangster was sealed. Chicago was his domain, and the outfit was at its peak. But the violence drew national attention, and the government's wrath. Capone didn't hide. He flaunted his wealth, gave interviews, and donated to charity, even opening soup kitchens during the Depression. To the poor, he was a folk hero. To authorities, a menace. Behind the charm was a man who ruled by fear, his fortune built on extortion and murder. Capone's grip on Chicago was total. He controlled liquor, gambling, brothels, and protection rackets. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre changed public opinion, turning him from a roguish bootlegger into a symbol of lawlessness. President Hoover demanded action. The Chicago Crime Commission named Capone public enemy number 1. Capone was insulated by corruption and fear. Witnesses vanished, evidence was scarce, and he left no paper trail. Traditional law enforcement methods failed. The government needed a new strategy to bring him down. Capone's legend grew, but so did the determination to end his reign. The hunt for his weakness began. The government attacked Capone on 2 fronts. Eliot Ness and his untouchables raided breweries, disrupting operations but failing to put Capone behind bars. Meanwhile, Treasury agent Frank J. Wilson quietly built a tax evasion case, tracking Capone's hidden income. The breakthrough seized ledgers linked profits to Capone. Under pressure, Capone's lawyers admitted he had taxable income, sealing his fate. In 1931, Capone was indicted on 22 counts of tax evasion. The King of Chicago would face justice, not for murder, but for failing to pay the taxman. The empire was crumbling. Capone's 1931 trial was a spectacle. Confident at first, he was undone by a surprise jury switch and overwhelming evidence. Found guilty, he received 11 years in prison, a stunning sentence for tax evasion. Sent to Alcatraz, Capone lost his power and health, ravaged by syphilis. Released in 1939, he was a broken man, living out his days in seclusion in Florida. He died in 1947, just 48 years old, a shadow of the gangster who once ruled Chicago. Capone changed organized crime, turning street gangs into corporate empires. His story is a cautionary tale about prohibition and the dark side of the American dream. He remains the archetype of the American gangster. Ruthless, charismatic, and ultimately doomed. Capone's legend endures, a symbol of ambition, power, and ruin. His life is a dark reflection of America's own contradictions. He rose as the King of Chicago, built an empire on blood, booze, and fear. But in the end, it wasn't bullets that brought Al Capone down, it was taxes. Power fades, legends fall, and justice always comes collecting. Subscribe to Real True Crime Empire for more untold endings of history's most dangerous men.